Alright. Rolling. Cool. Hair look okay? I didn't even bother doing my hair. Literally just like, this has been it for the day. Just falling in my face. What's going on, guys? I have not done a podcast or even sat down in front of this camera in what feels like far too long. But I honestly got this idea to do this literally 10 minutes ago. I wasn't even going to do this at all, but I was watching a different podcast where it's a very similar style to this one, where no guests, no just one-on-one, not that I'm opposed to having guests. I just let this kind of be my video diary, if you will, of where I'm at in my career. Just kind of keeping you guys updated with everything, kind of checking in once in a while, letting you guys know the inside details of certain things. But in this video in particular, I want to touch on a couple of things. I usually have like show notes per se about things I want to talk about. I didn't really have that. This just kind of came to me 5-10 minutes ago, and I figured I'd just put the camera up, start filming, and we'll just get to talking about everything. But sorry, I'm pulling up my social stuff here. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. This video in particular, like I was saying, I want to touch on pretty much the past year that I've had. Everything behind the scenes, everything you guys have seen, kind of giving you guys certain stories. I'm just going through it. We're recording, right? Okay, because that would suck if I wasn't recording. My internet is being so slow right now. Yeah, so pretty much just kind of going over, January through December, what month we're in now, and everything that's happening. And I'll also touch on everything I'm doing next year as well, or some little tidbits of it, because obviously, like, a lot of what I'm going to share with you from this year wasn't even part of the plan or on the agenda for, this time, like last year. Like, a lot of the things that I did just kind of happened the way that they did. So I ended up doing more than I initially thought. And so, fingers crossed and hope that we have a better year next year. But anyways, like I was saying, I'm trying to pull up my Instagram on my computer right now, and my Wi-Fi is just being a disaster. So bear with me for a second. There we go. Cool. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to start everything off here with January. Pretty much start talking about that. If it will load. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, it's just being super slow, so bear with me for a second here. Right off the top of my head, what did I do in January? January, let's see. I remember I did the road show, right? I did, I think I faced Mr. Hit. If I do think so, for sure. Yeah, anyways, that was January. I think, like, the slower months for me this year were the earlier months for sure. And then they kind of picked up kind of sporadically throughout the year. But I'd say November was for sure my heaviest month, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But just kind of going off my phone here. Yeah, sorry, this wasn't planned or rehearsed or any ideas for this at all. I thought I would just hop on here and we'll get to doing it. So yeah, me and Hit worked that month. Did that February. Pretty much same thing, just doing the road show. We had the Rhodes Cup. I wrestled Chase Owens in February. I wrestled... What else did I do in February? Did a cool couple photo shoots. Let's see. Yeah, roughly slow. I did a couple AEWs, or I did an AEW Dynamite for extra work then. Everything kind of started to pick up more for me around April, because that's when we did, or I did WrestleMania weekend that month, and I wrestled Brian Keith at Texas Wrestling Cartel. Actually had my wallet stolen too, so this would probably be where things get interesting here. This is probably like the start of the interesting year that I've had, full of the ups and plenty of downs. This was a very, very tough year in its own. A lot of good things happened from it, but a lot of learning lessons as well. Not a sponsorship yet. Yeah, so lost my wallet. I don't know if I've ever shared that story, but I was in Las Vegas. It was right after the Texas Wrestling Cartel show, and kind of just lost track of everything, and thinking of way too many things at one time. Ordered an Uber, went to pack my stuff, went to get in the Uber. Noticed I didn't have my fanny pack, so long story short, looked everywhere for this fanny pack, and just nowhere to be found. In the fanny pack, there was like jewelry I had loose cash, all my cards, my ID. So that was like Friday. We were there from I think Wednesday or Thursday till Sunday night or Monday morning. So yeah, I literally had to go around Las Vegas pretty much butt naked, but luckily I had really good friends that took care of me. So yeah, it honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I just refused to let that trip be like negative after that. I tried to make the best of what I could. With that being said, it was hard, because it's like you can only do so much without a freaking ID, and I feel like I already look young enough as it is. So, but yeah. Anyways, that was pretty much WrestleMania weekend. I did have a lot of fun. I did some networking there. Definitely made the most with what I could with that trip. At the time, what did I do then? We'll look to made quite an amount of debuts this year. With certain companies. Let's see. Wrestled Jimmy House, wrestled Starboy Charlie. That was really excited about that. He was on my radar for a while. Got to do that. Plenty of photo shoots on here. Turned 23 years old in August. Came back to Inspire. That was actually Inspire Pro Wrestling, or I guess it's Inspire after. It's not after death. It's Inspire Victorious now. Inspire was the last match that I had before I left wrestling, so to be able to come back was pretty cool. Different building, but still nonetheless it was cool. I wrestled Ozzy for like the 100,000th time there. Had a pretty fun feud with Pac Ortega. That ended with a dog collar match. That match should be on YouTube. You can either look it on the Texas Wrestling Cartel YouTube channel, or it'll be on my channel as well. Should be the video right before this, if not the one before that. I don't know. It's one of the newer ones. But y'all check that one out. That was pretty fun. I actually did that one in November. That was like my heavier month. All throughout this though, like throughout like the earlier months, I had like a full-time job. I literally was just working full-time job and working occasionally on a Saturday, which is really hard. I used to work at a car dealership. It was a great job, had a lot of fun with it, but like wrestling for me was going a certain direction that like one of them had to be sacrificed, and I knew kind of what that needed to be. So ultimately I had to leave that job at the end of July. I left that job and I ended up going full-time with wrestling. So that meant like training twice as much as I usually do, going to other places to train. I train with Booker T over at Reality of Wrestling now. So that's like a good 3.5 hour, 4 hour drive. Yeah, doing that. I was doing that every Thursday still. So I'll go drive there, train for a couple hours, drive back same day. So that was the stuff that kind of needed to take off the way that it did to have my kind of career be where it's at now. To be able to debut with Reality of Wrestling, the biggest promotion in the entire state. Just going back consistently to training, trying to get all the reps that we can. But yeah, we me and some guys from the Roads Wrestling Academy or the association, whichever you guys know, we were doing that for the entire, like, I think we didn't miss or I didn't miss a Thursday training for like 2 whole months. I was doing that 2 whole months. Yeah, it's a awful drive, but nonetheless, that's the stuff that is required to get better. I mean, I think the biggest thing Booker T said that always stuck out to me was when it was one of like the first or second time we were training with him. He said, "Wrestling ain't gonna come to you guys. You got to go. You have to go to wrestling." So once I heard that, now it's just like that's the part in my mind of investing into yourself, investing into your brand, investing into your in-ring ability, investing into so many parts of your career, your life, that a lot of people don't understand. I think a big problem that I see, at least on the independent scene in wrestling, is people do really good in one place and they get really comfortable and they don't want to be uncomfortable and get, put themselves in an environment to grow, to learn, because it is uncomfortable and it is scary. Sometimes there's ego involved with that too, which sucks, but that's just what this business breeds, I guess. So the biggest thing is for me, just like be willing to just keep learning, be willing to keep growing, be coachable, stuff like that. I think really taught me a lot this year in regards to just investing into myself and knowing to just keep going with everything that I can. And it is a struggle, it's really hard. A lot of the grind, it's cliche to say, but nobody sees like, I remember I talked to, shout out Ryan Davidson, really, really good trainer at Row or Booker School. He was saying how, like social media, and this is a big thing for me too. I like social media, don't get me wrong, but like social media can be so deceiving. Social media can be so, you think one way about something and it's actually not that at all. It's not what it seems at all. And it messes with your mind, it messes with your life, and I was a victim of that too, where I looked at social media and I compared myself and I just thought like, oh, this person's doing this and this and this. But in reality, like what Ryan was telling me is the things you don't see, right? Like you don't see the long car rides, you don't see like the aches and the pains that these people go through, you don't see like how they actually feel about, their perspective on their situation, That's another thing too. I'm going to say that so many times. Is everyone can have, or whoever can have whatever you want, right? They can make it seem like their life is so perfect, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you have, what you want. It's a matter of your perspective with it. I think perspective is like the most important thing in life in general. I don't think there is a lifestyle that will make everybody happy. There's some people that are working at lower end jobs and they're probably way happier than people that make a bunch of money, because happiness is a perspective. Happiness, success, it's all perspective. So you see these people on social media, for example, and you think probably, oh, this person's ahead of me, or this person's happier than me because they're doing this, or it even comes down to like people getting contracts, people getting opportunities, people getting a bunch of followers, likes, attention on social media, and you attribute that to like being successful and being the thing that everyone should want, but that doesn't always mean that's the thing that makes them happy, in my opinion, because I think for the most part we've all had a fair share and like idea of having what we thought we wanted at one point that would make us happy, right? And it doesn't, because if you still feel that way, if you still feel like the thing you wanted didn't make you happy, then the thing that you still want won't make you happy either. I think that's something to think about. I always think about that, and I always reassure myself that the thing that I think I want right now is not actually the thing that's going to fulfill me and make me happy. Sure, it might check off a lot of boxes in terms of like the things I want to do in my life and my career, but like ultimately it won't be the thing that provides this endless source of happiness and dopamine, because all that's the second you get it, it's already dead. It's already dying, I should say. You know, like it's already kind of like coming to an end. So it only lasts so long. There's nothing that's forever in this world, and I think people look at these material things, or they look at these concepts, or this status, or this whatever it might be, you know, and they think it's gonna provide them like this forever happiness. In reality, it just doesn't. You know, it sucks, but it's the truth. You know, I used to have a really bad problem with social media. Still kind of do. Not gonna lie and say like, oh, I'm over it, because like it's just something that doesn't really go away. You just have to kind of learn to deal with it. With my own social media, with seeing other people's social medias, like it's a weird like illusion. It's a perspective thing where like you just feel like you're constantly missing out, or you constantly feel like you should be doing more than what you do, or more than what you are, and it makes you lose complete sight as to what you are doing. You know, I think right when I left my job at the end of July, and I started just going grinding, like trying to get out there on the indies, trying to go to so many trainings. Like I was training with I trained with Ace Steel for 2 days too, over in Orlando. Probably the greatest training I've ever had in my entire life. Shout out Ace Steel. That was I can't wait to go back. That was really solid. His mind for stuff is just like one in a million. But yeah, went to train with him for a couple days. That was fun. Yeah. So, anyways, what I was saying was, once I started to do more, you know, started training all these places, or doing certain shows, or flying myself out to places, like once I started to do that, I started to feel like the more I did, the less I was doing. It's weird. Like when I was working at my job before, and I still have a job, it's just a remote position, but different place. When I was doing like my full-time position at the dealership, I wasn't doing as much. Like I was rarely training. I was working out every day. I wasn't doing as much like wrestling involved, right, at the time. And I thought that was enough. I was like, yeah, this is cool. You know, I'm doing the most that I possibly can with what I have. And I was. But since I got out, or since I left my job, the dealership, I should say, it's like the more I did, the more I feel like I had to do. I don't know if that makes any sense, but those who get it, you guys get it. Yeah, I still kind of struggle with that, where like you kind of feel like nothing is enough, you know? And this is a problem that a lot of people, I'm sure, have. A lot of people in real life, a lot of people in wrestling, a lot of people with a lot of different things, you know? This applies, this is a feeling. This isn't something that like is original. This is pretty common, you know, and it's very toxic because it robs you of a lot of like joy and fulfillment you have with doing what you want to do, because the reason you're doing it in the first place is because you love it, you know. It's sort of should be, right? And it shouldn't be about, oh, I just need to get ahead, or I just need to, you know, be so focused on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that you forget to focus on what you're doing now, because the whole point of what you're doing is to be enjoying what you're doing in the moment, you know what I mean? So I completely lost sight of that. I completely lost track of that, and went through this really toxic phase where I was just so obsessed with results, but at the same time, I didn't see any of them. I didn't. I was just constantly going. And I was being given all of these opportunities, like being able to work with, you know, Reality of Wrestling, being able to go to the New Japan seminar. I did that in beginning of November. So many things I got to do, like so many opportunities I was absolutely blessed with. Being able to start working with shows in Chicago, like getting out of my state. A lot of people like take years to do that, you know. And I've been going for 4 years, but to finally be able to start going other places, and you know, be in a good spot with my job, to be able to put myself in those positions. Like these are things that go under our radar because we're so obsessed. Our minds are so obsessed with results. We're so obsessed with the next thing, and like constantly getting ahead. It's hard. Like I was talking to someone earlier, and I compared it to like running on a treadmill that's too fast. You know, like you have to slow down because you can't run that fast. You know, it's like running on 12 on a treadmill, and you can only run at a 10 speed. And so you'll burn yourself out. You won't enjoy it. You know, it'll just be too fast for you to keep up with, and it'll just rob you of, you know, any sort of joy or like fulfillment of while you're doing it. So I don't know. That's just me kind of, if y'all can relate to that, you know, just kind of let y'all know that I struggle with this stuff too. You know, I know you guys only see the highlights. You guys only see the photo shoots. You guys see the, you know, the things that I'm doing on my social media, wherever it might be on this channel. You just see all that stuff and you lose sight of like what's real and what's not. So I hope this video more or less can kind of be like a behind the scenes and kind of like reassure you that like, yo, nobody's life is what it seems like. It doesn't matter who they are. They could be freaking super celebrities. They could be whatever, you know, like nobody's life is what you think it looks like. You know, that's the whole point of it, them being like shown in this certain light is for like advertising or like, you know, anything like that. Like it's never actually who they actually are or what they're doing. You know, we're all just people. We're all people that have our own problems, and we all have the same emotions. We all go through very similar things. And all I can ask is just to be an example of that, you know, the best way that I can. I don't care to be this person that is perceived to be this superstar per se, you know. As much as that is what everyone should strive to be, I want to be an example of what's real, you know. And I think he just retired, but the great example of this is John Cena. I've been watching a lot of John Cena podcasts as of recently and listening to his perspective on life, and it's super like, it's reassuring to me. It's very, very like, okay, like one of the greatest of all time, without a doubt. One of the greatest people to ever freaking do it in sports entertainment and sports and whatever, entertainment in general. Like one of the biggest icons of all time. For him to like deal with a lot of things that regular people deal with, or for him to view his life as just such a regular person and not gloat about being this superstar or the person that he, you know, he's perceived to be, it's like the most like reassuring, humbling, comforting feeling, you know. He was on, this was Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, I don't remember, but he was on that show a couple years ago. I remember he had this watch, or he had two watches. One of them was to tell time, and the other one was to tell perspective. And the perspective, I totally forget, was on the other side, but there was two sides to the one that had perspective. And it was, I think it was a phrase, and it means like it's just in case he gets too big of an ego. Just kind of like check your ego. Just know that you're not better than anyone in the room. We're all people, which is very humble perspective. And on the other side is for when you're feeling low in that confidence, and it just says comparison is the thief of joy. And that's something that just really I think about all the time. You know, if you're ever feeling down on yourself, if you're ever feeling like you're not doing enough, if you ever feel like what you're doing just isn't working, or whatever it might be, just know that like you could potentially be comparing yourself. And I was comparing myself to other people, but I was also comparing myself to myself. I was comparing myself to what I eventually have, what I want to have, right? So there's a version of me that has the things that I'm working towards, and I would like envy that. And it's weird because that's like myself. So like, how am I going to be, I would want it quicker, you know? I was saying this earlier too. I was talking about how we constantly, or me, I personally constantly always like, I want the thing that I'm about to get right now. You know, I'm just like, oh, I should already have that, the thing I'm working towards. And, you know, not to say that it ruins my work ethic towards it, but it does ruin a little bit of my perspective and my patience, and it ruins a lot of my trust sometimes with it, knowing that it's supposed to happen at a certain time, at the right time. And I could do a better job at kind of viewing it like that, because I just haven't been doing, excuse me, a good job at that. It's a constant struggle, and again, I'm only saying this to give you guys an insight on my little brain, and for people that also struggle with this. If you're a wrestler watching this, if you're a regular person, whatever it might be, just know that you're not alone, and that these are feelings that are completely normal, and that they too shall pass. Because in a year from now, you'll have different problems. This time last year, this was not in my head. I had other things I was thinking about. Ignore that noise. That's my sibling. Sorry, I told her to keep it down now. Anyways, yeah, sorry. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, perspective, right? Yeah, perspective. Yes. It's a work in progress with everybody, No one can just wake up tomorrow and say like, oh, you know what? I started seeing it like this. It's every day you work on it. You work on trying to make your mindset better, trying to, work on yourself, trying to do everything that you can to just make the best version of yourself. And if you're not doing that, you're kind of wasting your time. You should constantly be trying to evolve. You should constantly be trying to create a better version of yourself, regardless of how you do it. Whether you go to school, whether you work out, whether you go for a walk, whether you meditate, like anything to make yourself better. I think we as people need to do a better job at that, working on side projects, anything. Just, you should constantly be trying to do something every day that would make you, even if it's just like an inch ahead, every little inch matters. So, but yeah, I think I really got lost in that concept when I was trying to really put myself out there, because it's like, okay, now I'm just in this specific world of professional wrestling. I need to just kind of do everything that I can, and it just doesn't feel like enough all the time. So that's work in progress for sure. But anyways, couple other things here. Let's see, I'm gonna do Inspire there. Yep. I did the dog collar match, so I guess we can talk a little bit about November. November was a pretty good month. Started it off with working for a company called Only Wrestlers, which is a pretty big one. I don't know if Rob Van Dam like owns it, or he has like, I don't know what he does. He's affiliated with it somehow. Did that in San Antonio. That was fun. I was supposed to wrestle a guy named Luke Hawks. That didn't happen for certain reasons, but that we ended up kind of getting an alternative, and I tag teamed with Charlie Haas, and he closed on my head off, so that's cool to say, I guess. But yeah, I did that. Start of November, I actually went to the New Japan Pro Wrestling Dojo in California. That was like a last minute thing, but decided to fly out to LA, did the 2-day seminar, and had a lot of fun. I'm going to touch back on that here in a little bit, give you guys the update to that. But I did that for 2 days, and it's just like nothing else. Like, the New Japan style is so its own, it's very strong style, very, very, like, they're big on, like, respect. They look at professional wrestling in ways that American wrestling is just not. They don't see the same. That goes for every style of wrestling, whether it's lucha or Japanese, American, even European. Like, it's all different. So to be able to kind of have that opportunity to go and do that for the 2 days was like so cool. But yeah, I did that, had a dog collar match, and bled for the first time in a professional wrestling match, which was pretty cool. Never thought I would say that, especially this year. But I guess that's what this year is full of, is just a lot of like unpredictable things. So yeah, I got to do that. That was pretty fun. That match, like I said, you can find that on my channel. And then my coach got to be there for that too, Dustin Rhodes. He was there, kind of fitting. I mean, he's the bull rope match guy, and he's always bleeding. So for him to be there for mine, it did mean a whole lot, and it was very special for me. I did go around this time through a gimmick kind of rebrand in a way. Was starting off the year with like a horror movie killer gimmick kind of thing. And so I kind of rode out with that. And around November is when I kind of started. I'm starting now to kind of like revamp and kind of get a different idea for what I'm trying to do here. So with that came new merchandise, new gear, a whole new aesthetic. Still going by the Flawless moniker. Because to me that means like in every avenue, every category, I am the most undeniable, phrase it however you want. Like I'm the guy that checks off every box, right? Whether it's just in the in-ring stuff, whether it's the athleticism, whether it's the aesthetic, my gear, everything is just to a T. So I'm a man without any flaws, or I try to be. But anyways, I changed it to that, kind of going more like, started modeling as well. So I kind of went more male model kind of aesthetic, if you will. So with that, I debuted that at the Rhodes Wrestling Association's Fall Fury 2, which was our anniversary show. After we hit 1 year in November. It was the 23rd, I'm pretty sure. I wrestled Movie Mike and had a pretty good, decent back and forth match with him. Didn't end the way that I wanted it to, but I got hit with my own set of brass knuckles because those were my go-to. But yeah, that was top to bottom. That was a really fun show. I think we had a lot of great talent on that show. We had Billy Gunn, Zilla Fatu, all kinds of names, people that have been on the shows before. You guys will see that. Go ahead and check that out if you haven't. Yeah, that was November. I did some other things too. I did another Booker show, or reality wrestling show, I should say. Yeah, and now, let's see. I just remember November was crazy. Let's see, November. Yep. Wrestled for Lions Pride again. Just recently, I did a lot of AEWs. I did, was it November I did AEW? Or just, no, it had been November. Yeah, November, did AEW. Yeah, let's see, Collision. Yeah, I did a lot of, I did a Dynamite, or no, sorry, I think I did a Collision. I did a Collision, and I did another Collision on the 8th of November. I feel like I did 3. Did I not do 3? Yeah, I did quite a few of them, and I did like some bull costume thing. I was a belt boy for Mercedes. That was fun. Yeah, I was there quite a bit for AEW, and then this past, was it the 4th? The 4th I did, or the 5th. The 5th of December I just did SmackDown, so I got to go backstage and kind of help out backstage. So it's always so like, it's so fun. It's so like eye-opening to be backstage, whether it's AEW or WWE. Because you get an insight as to like what goes on backstage, and you kind of get a better idea of how they run the show. And it's honestly not all that different from, something like reality wrestling or the Rhodes Wrestling Association, because they're both productions, So the way that you can kind of like compare them, it just doesn't seem like it's that far off, and it makes being back there makes getting a contract or being on TV seem that much more like achievable. It makes it seem like, okay, this is actually possible. This is within arm's reach. I can do this. Like, because look at a lot of people that are signed backstage here, like, not to say I'm on their level of any sort, but like, it's definitely achievable, So yeah, super, super blessed to be able to have those opportunities when I get them. But yeah, so the year is coming to a close. I do have a lot of things planned for next year. I do have just so many ideas for stuff that I don't want to say just yet, but to kind of give you guys some ideas and kind of where I'm going next, kind of give you some insight on that, the exclusive stuff, people that stay towards the end of the podcast, I'll give you the heads up here. Yeah, I will be moving to California for 3 months, come January 3rd or 4th. Moving to California for 3 months, so I'll be there till either the middle or the end of March, and I will be attending the New Japan Pro Wrestling Advanced Camp. So, I'll be doing that for 3 months. Be training over there 3 times a week. Live with a couple guys, and yeah, I've never kind of just up and left or made this sort of change before in my life, especially not for wrestling. I've had a lot of trips, but never just like up and left and moved to a different state. I've been to LA obviously, but I've never like gotten to live really outside of my own home, kind of wherever the family's at. So yeah, I'll be doing that. So it's just as exciting as it is scary, to be honest with you, because you just don't know what to expect. But how fun is that a concept? But at the same time, how scary is it? It's a big reason why I love wrestling in general, because there's nothing that is guaranteed. There's nothing that is for sure. There is only nothing's linear, I should say. Nothing's linear in this industry. I've come to learn there's a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but that doesn't mean you're just because you have a low moment doesn't mean you're super, super far away. But you have a high moment doesn't mean you're super, super close. It just, everyone has their own timing with everything, and I think that's something we all have to do a better job at remembering with this, with everything, really. Nothing in life really is linear. But with wrestling in particular, there's no structure to it, really. And I was always told, growing up, I was a very structured thinker. My dad was a Marine. And I was very much taught, A plus B equals C. That was kind of the way my brain works. And that's not really how this business works. There's really no... You do this, you get this. That's not how this works, really. You can do this. You think you get this, you could, you might not. You might just have to do this, and you'll get this. It's super all over the place, And it's really fun concept because anything can happen at any time to anybody. But it's super, super, just as cool as it is scary. So, that's kind of my perspective going to California like that. I don't know what to expect. I'm gonna do the best I can to document it for sure. Share that with you guys. I don't know how much the camp I'll be able to film, but just kind of my life in California. I think that could be cool. Maybe pick up the vlogs again. I don't know. We'll see. Did you guys like the vlogs? If you guys like the vlogs, put in the comments, because I like to know that stuff. But I don't mind them. It's just they kind of suck to edit. But and it's just I always forget to record too. That's the biggest thing. I always forget to whip out my camera. But I know there's a lot of parts of my life that I do want to capture on camera for the sake of looking back, or for the sake of sharing my life with you guys, because I get to live such a blessed lifestyle. I get to do all these awesome things that I think you guys deserve to have some insight on it, because you guys all support me and you've been following my journey, and I should do a better job of documenting that. So yeah, I think once we do kind of get settled in, I'll start filming, kind of checking with you guys. I don't know how I'm going to do the vlogs, if I do end up doing them, if you guys want me to do them. Or it could just be a sit down and talk about what I did. It just could very well depend on that. I think I'll for sure at least do these style videos. I can guarantee you guys that. I'll do these a couple times a month when I do that. So that'll be cool. Just think it's super important to document stuff like that, because you just never know if you're going to want to look back on it, or who could be listening or who could be watching that you could change their perspective on things, So that's why I like this style of content. It's just the most genuine to me. It doesn't feel forced. Just like the most raw, authentic version of me you're gonna get. I think like there's nothing. This isn't Vin Parker you're gonna see on social media. This isn't Vin Parker you're gonna see on Instagram, YouTube, my matches. Like this is just Vin, dude. You know, like we'll just hang out and talk, and get to know more about me, how my mind works, and my perspective on stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. At least. But anyways, next year, moving to California for 3 months. LA in particular. So I'll be taking bookings. If you guys live in California, if you guys want me to come to your show, if you go to wrestling shows, if whatever the case is, like I will be there. So go ahead and shoot me a message online, shoot me an email. If you guys have a promotion in mind that you want me to work for, send me their details as well, and I'd love to get out there as well and be part of that. But we're gonna leave that a little open-ended. So yeah, moving to LA, doing the dojo. Super excited about that. That's the start of next year, really. So a lot of the stuff that I have planned or in mind, like they kind of came second to doing the dojo, because I want to make sure I can kind of do that to my fullest ability with everything said and done. So whether that means like not taking certain indie bookings or not being at certain places, like that, to me, I had to prioritize certain things, So yeah, but I'm gonna do the best I can. I'll be all over California, up, down, north, south, whatever. Vegas too. I'll be in Vegas. I'm gonna try to go to WrestleMania weekend is next year too, in Vegas. So if you guys plan on going to that, I will try to be there. Might have a couple shows lined up for that. Hopefully more after this trip to California. So this trip to California is pretty much going to be like the beginning of what will set the pace for this next entire year. Because I think if I don't take this risk, if I don't invest in myself, kind of like what I was saying earlier, like being willing to invest in yourself, that's the whole point of this trip. If I don't do this, I feel like a lot of me will just stay where I was, And so there is a lot of fear, there is a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of, you don't know, there's a lot of unpredictability with it. But I think if I don't take this risk, I'm just going to stay exactly where I'm at, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I think doing this will lay the groundwork for where I will be this time next year. So I hope to be sitting in front of this camera, if not a nicer one, which would be cool. And talking about my yearly recap of 2026, with all the things that I'm proud that I did, that I can look back and say California, moving to LA, helped make me do that, And I think we'll most definitely be there, regardless of how you look at it. I think there's only good to be taken of this, I think with that being said, with like perspective on it, a lot of that comes with making sure you enjoy the experience too, and not having crazy expectations from it. I think the best way to go about living life, and this is also like a John Cena thing, or quote, is like, it's not really a quote, but just kind of going in with no expectations of anything. Work your tail off, but he said it best. I think it was the Joe Rogan podcast. You guys should watch that if you haven't. He gives a really good perspective on how he views things. Joe Rogan just asked him, like, how do you stay so humble? How do you think the way that you do? How do you how are you so grateful, for everything that you have? And he said, man, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm just some kid from West Newbury, Massachusetts. I'm not supposed to be doing the things that I'm doing, And when you think of it like that, when you think about your life in terms of just being grateful, thinking that maybe you weren't supposed to be here. Maybe the stars just lined up at the right place, the right time, and everything kind of happened the way that it did for a reason, But it's very very humbling to know that it could all be taken away. You know, maybe you're not supposed to be here. So I try to live my life like that. Of course, do everything in my power to keep it and to make sure that I do the best of my ability to get to where I want to be, but to also keep myself humble and knowing that all of this could be gone tomorrow. You know, everything could be gone tomorrow for whatever reason. So I think that keeps me grateful for the things that I have and the things that I'll eventually have as well, and just keep working towards the ultimate goal, which is to kind of make like a full career out of this, right? I think that's everybody's goal, is to be able to make this their life, you know. And I've already pretty much done that. Like I always hear you gotta want this just as much as you want to breathe, and I think the second half of this year really showed me that, how much I truly want every part of this, you know, with all the sacrifices that I made with moving to California too. Like, I don't want to move to LA. I really don't. I've been there a couple of times and I'm not very fond of it. I'm not a really big LA guy, you know, but these are just the things you have to do do the things you want to do. And if nothing else, it's a good life experience, you know. So I'm excited. I am excited. I just don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. So just gonna try to be as optimistic as possible. Just gonna try to be make the best of it, you know. Really try to make the best of it, and look forward to it. You know, I think we all need things in life to look forward to, regardless of what they are. It keeps us going, keeps us motivated. So that for sure, that'll be fun. But thought I'd give you guys a little bit of information on that, and the plans for that. So there's that. What else is going on? I guess we can. I know this whole freaking podcast thing that I do is pretty much a mental health diary at this point, but to touch on certain things as well that I've kind of also been having a hard time with is the way that I've put wrestling as the priority in my life. You know, like the thing that I put most of my thoughts, my efforts, my being into. I think along with that I've made it very much a lot of my identity, and I've made it a lot of like who I am. People do this all the time. People do this with their job. People do this with their money. People do this with their cars. People do this with women. People do this with friends. They do it with their loved ones. They do. There's so many things you can put your identity into that could ultimately ruin you. You know, I don't think these gifts that we're given throughout our life are meant to be how we like to be idolized the way that we sometimes do. They're gifts and that's it. They shouldn't be looked at like they're the thing that make us who we are, because they're not the thing that make us who we are. But I think I have to constantly remind myself of that, because it is a struggle. It is a hard thing to deal with at times, with putting so much of your value into something that you've dedicated so much of your life to, and when you feel like it's not going a certain way, you feel like you're not doing enough with it, it'll kind of ruin your perspective on yourself, you know, which has happened to me multiple times, and it can really mess a lot of things up for you. It can self-sabotage you like crazy. So this is just something I've also had a hard time with, to be honest with you, and this is a lot more common than you think. I made an Instagram post as well, talking about like, if you're a pro wrestler, like pro wrestling is not who you are. Pro wrestling is just something that you do. And I think that's something we all need to remember. That's something that we all need to hear a lot more of, you know. I think we get so lost into what we're doing, into who we are as a wrestler, that we think this is the kind of value that we provide to the world, and in reality it's not. So that being said, like, just remember like how much you're appreciated, how much you're loved without wrestling, because people love you for who you are, not necessarily the things that you can do, right? And you're worthy of that. You're worthy of that. But just have fun with wrestling, because wrestling's fun, you know? And this should only be that. So, anyways, I'll be going for 50 minutes now. I'll say a couple more things here. if you guys want to see, like, what do you guys want to see me do in 2026 in particular? Put that in the comments below as well if you made it this far. Where do you want to see me at, like, in the country? What do you want to see me do, like, anything? Like, let me know. Like, it doesn't just have to be wrestling. Like, it can be anything else. Like, I'm open to trying things. I'm open to documenting those things. If you guys want me to vlog more, I'll vlog more. If you guys want me to whatever, literally I can, the possibilities are endless, you know. Go into, after going to California, like, my mind is open to anything, because nothing to me is like irrational or impossible. It's like, okay, we have a whole year, you know. So, and it doesn't stop there, but I just kind of try to keep it in a year. Like, okay, what can I start this year that can set me up for the future? What can I start, kind of get a good run this next year? Because I do think, looking back, like, this past 2025 was really good. There was a lot of hardship. There was a lot of loss. There was a lot of love. And it did help make me who I am, sit in front of this camera right now. And looking back, like, January me, they always say this stuff on Instagram and Twitter and stuff, like, January me would not believe the year that I've had, honestly. And it's crazy because I know I'm going to look back this time next year and look back and probably think the same thing about the version of myself right now. But only time will tell. So, yeah, I'm going to try at the very least, see how what happens with the vlogs. At the very least, I'm going to try to do more of these one-on-one talkings, because I like to sit and talk in front of the camera. I can do that all freaking night, I feel like, because it feels like I'm kind of like speaking to you one-on-one, you know. I'm not just speaking to this large group of people. I'm speaking directly to you, whoever's watching this. Like, I hope this at least kind of, you were able to take your mind off of whatever you have going on in your life, whether it's bad or, you know, you just need a distraction from it, you know. That's what I try to provide that, because I know there's people that I watch online that do the same thing for me, that I watch even with wrestling. Wrestling was that for me at one point too. It's not really that anymore, but now I provide that distraction. So if I can be of some sort of escape for you to just shut your mind off, even if you're about to go to sleep, or this is how you start your morning, or you're just, you know, doing whatever. Hopefully I was able to kind of help you just dial down for a little bit and just think about anything else, you know, different perspectives, you know. So, with that being said, I think I'm going to cut it here. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to go ahead and put all the links to all of my social medias in the comments below. I do have new t-shirts as well if you guys want to buy those. I don't have one on me right now, ironically enough. But if you do want to buy one of those, might be, actually I don't know. I'll put it in the link description. Yeah, they're a lot more minimalist now. They're not super loud. These are shirts you can wear to out in public. You can wear these to wrestling shows. You can wear, it looks like a designer t-shirt. That's what kind of my intention was behind it. So very minimalist, very simple. Hope you guys like those. So if you want to get some of those, go to the link in the description below. Got some new 8x10s as well. New wristbands. A couple new things coming in. So in this next year, I'll have a whole new bunch of stuff, bunch of different things. And also let me know in the comments below, like, what you want that I could sell, that I can get printed, like coffee cups or phone cases. I don't even know, pop sockets, whatever. Things like that, I think. Put in the comments below things that you would be interested in me having Vin Parker, Flawless Vin Parker themed. But yeah, what else can I plug here? Social medias, got my merchandise. Patreon. If you're watching this right now, you're probably watching on Patreon first, if you're a Patreon subscriber, because I usually upload everything that I do, all of my content, my exclusive content for Patreon eyes only, content super early, behind the scenes stuff. Everything gets uploaded on Patreon early. So it could be 3 days to a week earlier. And if you want to be the first person to see the stuff or see the announcements, with this podcast being included, this was on Patreon. If you're watching on YouTube right now, this was on Patreon probably a week ago. So if you want to get all this kind of stuff early, especially with the new year coming up, or this next year, you're going to want to keep updated with the things that I'm doing. Definitely check out the Patreon. You can join as a free member, of course. You'll have access to a couple things on there, but I would highly appreciate it if you could subscribe. I do have 3 tiers if you want to check those out. But yeah, you'll have access to all of my content super early. So go ahead and check that out as well. But yeah, stay tuned to the Rhodes Wrestling Association channel too. We just broke 20,000 views on the Fall Fury 2, the anniversary show. So pretty proud about that. And we're gonna keep bumping those out bi-monthly. So y'all check those out as well. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna sign off here. Hope you guys appreciated picking my brain for a little bit and kind of me checking in, always giving you guys updates as much as I can, as much as I haven't done in a while. The last video actually did pretty well, surprisingly, where I just talked about what was going on. I feel like I probably did that in September, honestly. It seemed like a while ago. My life has drastically changed since then in so many ways. But yeah, and hopefully by the time I check in with you guys next, I'll be in a different location. So I don't know what it'll look like, but it'll be probably a different crib. But okay. Y'all check out my social media, of course. You guys will see most of what I'm doing in the moment on there. And yeah, I never do have an outro for this stuff, so it's just kind of very cold. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. I'll see you later.